Hello everyone, this is the Cardmaker Beta tutorial part 10, programming. Now, Cardmaker Beta comes with a couple of basic programming functions, but these I would consider advanced and optional. You really don't need to use them in your Cardmaker project at all. But I'm going to talk about them briefly so that you know that they're there in case you find a use for them. So let's go into this field, into the text field. So our text currently is black. It currently is formatted text based on this text field which we are referencing. Now, if I go in here and I click on this button, it gives me an option of a couple functions that can be used in the definition. So for example, I could use the note draw, which isn't programming per se, but as long as this hashtag no draw exists in the field, it will not display that field. The programming functions that I'm mostly talking about are add an if statement, if else, switch, and so forth. So if I add an if statement, I'm going to be adding text to this box conditionally. So for example, if x is equal to x, then it's going to output a in this field. If you're familiar with programming, this makes a lot of sense, but for people who do not program out there, basically what it's saying is that if this condition is met, then return this thing to that text, to the definition box. It's always going to be flanked by a hashtag and a parentheses. And this statement is probably going to be the most complicated for people who are not familiar with programming. What it's going to do is compare a number or a string, and a string basically means a grouping of characters, like a word, to this one over here. And if the condition is met, in this case it means it's exactly equals to, then it'll output A. Or let's do, it'll output ZZZ, or ZZZ. All right, so if x is the same as x, then ZZZ will be displayed in the text field. So I could also do x is not equal to x. So this is a programming language, a common programming language syntax for not equals to. So if I do y, now x is not equal to y, and that's just a logical truth, then it'll display ZZZ. Now, this has some uses which might be quite apparent. If you have, for example, a number involved in your card, like you have a sword with a strength of 5, and you want all cards with strength 4 or greater to be displayed in red, then, for example, you could do, actually, let's go into the spreadsheet and make this happen. So we have a strength value of 5, 3, and 0. Okay? And now we're going to save it. We're going to go back to here. We're going to reload the references there. And so now we're going to go into text and let's see. So if this condition, so we're going to do if strength is greater than or equal to 2, then ZZZ. All right, so there we go. So apparently you need to delineate your text with a space, so it goes, as long as the strength is greater than 2, it will display ZZZ. Let's actually do greater than 3. Because when we go to the shield has a strength of 3. So and the strength is not greater than 3, so it does not display ZZZ. But if we change it to 2, it displays. And of course, the armor does not have any strength at all, so nothing is displayed. But you can do this to change the formatting of certain cards and display things in different ways. So for example, I could make the text red, specifically if the strength is greater than 2, by inputting a tag here where I could have font colors equal to red. So now on the sword, the text is red, and on the shield the text is red, but not on the armor. There is another programmatic feature in here called the switch statement. So the switch statement works a lot like the if statement, except that it's going to take a value, which is the key. In this case, we're going to make it the strength at strength. And then it's going to compare it to this value. So we're going to make it 5. And then it's going to output this value in case it has a match. And then we're going to do this for 3, 3. And then we can add one more. So it's going to be 0, 0. There we go. So as we go through the cards, you can see that on the Sword of Vengeance, because its value, the strength value, is 5, it's going to output a 5 and an exclamation mark, which is right here. Once we go to the shield, the value is equal to 3, and it's going to output 3 and an exclamation mark. If the value is 0, it puts out 0. If the value is none of the above, it'll do the default, and it'll display nothing. So that is a switch statement. I forgot to mention you can also do an if-else statement. An if-else statement basically says that if the condition is met, do one thing. If the condition is not met, do another thing. And that works not too dissimilarly from the switch statement, except that it covers more use cases. So at strength is greater than 3, then it's going to be font color equals red. And then if it, or else it's going to be font color equal to blue. So for example, I'm going to make it so that as long as strength is greater than 3. So if we go to the sword, the color is red because I've told it to be red as long as the strength is high. And then when we get to the shield, because it's not greater than 3, it's going to show blue text. And same for the armor. And I think that covers most of what is going to be in here. Add a comma. Why would you add a comma? Because you just add a normal comma. Anyway, that's some of the programmatic stuff that you can do with Cardmaker Beta. And I don't recommend using it for all your projects, but sometimes it's much easier than having to format your spreadsheet to cover all the differences between cards. For example, if you have all of the 10 power cards in your game, have an icon to say that they're 10 power, it might be easier in the program to have it display that icon when the power is greater than 10 or equal to 10, rather than going through your spreadsheet and making it so that that image asset is available on all cards that have a power of 10. So I hope you find some use from this, and thank you.